What is up, guys? It's Vanessa coming at you with another video. Now this one is going to be the reasons why I stopped running half marathons. If you guys like videos like this, don't forget to give the video a huge thumbs up. It does help me out tons. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Also, let's try to get the video to 400 likes. Can we do that? Yeah, let's get on with the video. All right, so I just want to say a little disclaimer. In no way, shape, or form am I telling you to not do long distance running. I'm just sharing my own personal experience, and running overall is just really good for cardiovascular health. So I am not in no way, shape, or form telling you not to run. You need cardiovascular health for your heart so that, you know, you're healthy. If you are a runner, keep doing it if it works for you. Okay, so I just want to give a little bit of a background of like my running story, I guess, as you want to call it. So I actually ran 2 half marathons. They were the Nike Women's Half Marathon. I ran one in 2013 and I also ran again in 2014. Now these were all based out of Washington, DC. I think those were like the first 2 years that Nike ever had a half marathon series on the East Coast. So it was like it was like a really big deal. And at the time I was like a super Nike snob, and to some extent kind of still am. So I was really excited to be a part of that series. I also ran a few 10Ks before, and then I also ran a lot of like fun runs slash like 10Ks and stuff like that. So I have had my share of running throughout the time I have done so. So I want to actually start by explaining why I started running. I started running starting my fitness journey because I thought that's what I was like supposed to do for like the body that I wanted. Now my particular body goals are going to be different than other people's body goals, and their particular preferences are going to be different. I actually wanted to have like bigger thighs or just more muscular looking thighs, and I also wanted to have like a bigger butt, you know, all that blah 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 stuff. Those were kind of like my goals and what I was towards. Obviously I wanted to be very athletic and I wanted to have an athletic type of body, but you know, my goals were to enhance the lower half of the, you know. And at the time I wasn't super knowledgeable on like exercise and fat loss and all this other stuff, that I really didn't know how to properly train, and I didn't know how to properly program for myself. That was kind of one of the reasons why I started running, because it was just easy. I felt like everybody was doing it and everybody was telling you to do it, so I thought, well, let me just run because it's free and I got legs and I got feet. So let me just do that. I also thought that cardio equaled fat loss, but I felt like I had to do a crap ton of cardio in order to lose weight and in order to lose fat, and I thought that's what was going to make me have like the body of my dreams. But for my particular goals, it didn't really help. A lot of that had to do with the fact that my friends really introduced me to it, and it was kind of more of like a group kind of thing. So it was like really cool because I wasn't doing it by myself. Okay, now starting off with the reasons why I stopped running. Now, one of the main reasons was because I like fell in love with the Nike Women's Half Marathon series, and then in 2015 Nike pretty much announced that they were not going to continue their series in DC, which was really disappointing. That was one of the reasons why I stopped running half marathons, was because that was the main half marathon that I wanted to run, and I wasn't going to travel across the country to run a half marathon in San Francisco. So I figured, I'm just not gonna run anymore. I also started developing a lot of knee pain. It's actually in the patella. It was patellar femoral knee pain syndrome, or knee syndrome, something like that. Even when I was sitting down and my knees were bent, which is like what you get, it's like called runner's knee. Anytime that you're like sitting down, your knees start aching, your knees are hurting. There was always like a lot of knee pain when I was like squatting. More knee pain than I had before, and I just was really uncomfortable all the time. Felt like I had to ice my knees and like do all kinds of stuff to my knees, and a lot of it had to do like right after running. I had tons of knee pain. And the patellofemoral pain syndrome just has to do with the fact like it's kind of the after effects of running, especially if you're not running in the correct stride, which I feel like for a long time I was, and I feel like it's just because of my body composition. I personally feel like I don't really have the body type for running long distance, and I know that's, you know, my personal opinion, and there is some research on different body types that are really good for that kind of stuff, that their bodies and skeletal systems can take that kind of toll. But that's just me. In my opinion, I really don't feel like running is for me per se, but that's just me. I don't know. Another reason why I stopped running was because I felt like my overall flexibility was really taking a toll. It's because I was running and I wasn't properly recovering afterwards. I wasn't stretching correctly. I wasn't doing the rest, rest, ice, compression, and elevation for your knees and your feet and all that stuff. I wasn't really doing that, and I felt like that really took a toll out of my body. The overall pain and aching feeling just really kind of threw me off, and it made me not want to run anymore. Now, the biggest reason why I stopped running honestly had to do with myself. Just came down to physique goals. My goals changed from just like worrying about solely fat loss and running and blah blah blah, but became more about strength and conditioning and having the best kind of body overall, a more athletic build of a body, if that makes sense. Because of all of the cardio that I was doing, I wasn't really properly eating enough. So basically what happened was I would train for my half marathon, and then once that stopped, I would then try to do kind of like a hypertrophy phase of weight gain / muscle gain. And I forget how long it took. Like, I think it was like 3 months of trying to train for a half marathon, or 3 or 4 months of trying to train for a half marathon, which is like I was not eating properly. I was not eating enough, which is really the key, because I was losing a ton of muscle mass in my legs. Like, my legs were looking extremely scrawny in comparison to the rest of my body. And even though I was kind of like still working out at the gym, there was so much activity that I was doing that my body was really using my muscle mass as fuel because I was not eating properly. I would recommend that if you are going to do long distance running or any type of running or any type of workout, that you need to be able to properly eat and have the right nutrition for your body type and goals, because if not, you're gonna end up kind of what they call like metabolic damage, where you're gonna be ruining your system. When I was running, I wasn't refueling, so what my body did was, well, if she ain't gonna refuel, we're just gonna eat all this muscle that she got on these legs that she's using, so we're just gonna do that. And that's kind of what my body was doing. But what I was doing was burning more energy than what I was taking in, so therefore, because of that, my body was trying to compensate for the fact that I was not eating enough, and instead it was eating my muscle in my legs. And so that's why I kind of had that like scrawny effect. When you're running, the bulk of your muscles that are being used are your lower body, are your thighs, your calves, your lower body muscle mass, and not your upper body. So your upper body really isn't getting worked out. It's just your lower body, and well, that's just looking scrawny as hell. So that kind of really messed up my goals per se. I kind of want to focus more on like building muscle mass and really gaining strength, and that's kind of how I transitioned. And so if you are running, I would recommend that you pay a ton of attention to your nutrition, because it is a huge part of all of this. And if you are not fueling your body well enough or properly enough, you are going to be eating up all your muscle essentially, because your body has to figure out a way to fuel itself. Now that's up for debate. I'm not gonna sit here and like say that this is like the word of God. It's not. Obviously, do your own research. If you guys are curious about any of the things that I've said, make sure that you do your own research and do your own thing. But yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons why I stopped running, just solely because I felt like it was doing a lot more damage to my body, because I was very ill-informed. And so that's particularly why. Now, I'm not telling you not to run. My personal goals have changed, and how I want my body to look and my body composition has also changed. Again, I would love to know if you guys run, or what your thoughts are, and how you guys are making sure that you're properly getting your nutrition. I'd love to hear down in the comment section down below. Also, let me know down in the comment section what kind of other videos you would like me to record. I'm taking recommendations. You guys can let me know down below. And yeah, if you guys like videos like this, don't forget to give the video a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Really good for cardio. Ooh, really, it's just why